Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to PETV World. With the news this hour, I'm Tayyaba Nisar Khan.
And joining Tayyaba Nisar, I'm Rafi Iqbal. Let's start off with the headlines.
General Syed Asim Munir assumes charge of the Chief of Army Staff. Outgoing Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa hands over the baton of command to his successor at an impressive ceremony at the General Headquarters, Rawalpindi.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif telephones the Army Chief General Syed Asim Munir and felicitates him on assuming office. Shehbaz Sharif says he's confident that under the leadership of General Asim Munir, the Army's professionalism and defense capabilities will further increase.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and former President Asif Ali Zardari discussed the overall political situation in the country. Rehabilitation of flood victims was also reviewed during this meeting.
The government is providing all possible facilitation to investors to promote foreign investment in the country. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif says the coalition government is taking every possible measure to strengthen the economy.
Pakistan and Afghanistan hold political dialogue in Kabul and review the bilateral cooperation in education, health, trade and investment, regional connectivity, people-to-people contacts and socio-economic projects.
Pakistan receives $500 million from Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. The Finance Ministry says the funds are deposited with the State Bank of Pakistan and these would augment the country's reserves.
The third Pakistan-Africa Trade Development Conference starts in Johannesburg, South Africa. Around 130 companies are exhibiting their products in the three-day exhibition.
The Supreme Court completes the hearing of a presidential reference filed in the Record Act case and will give its verdict by next week.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif reaffirms Pakistan's unwavering support to the oppressed Palestinian people as International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people is being observed today to show solidarity with them in getting their inalienable right to freedom and to establish their independent state in their national soil.
Pakistan and England squads practice in Rawalpindi as the first match of the three-test series will kick off on Thursday.
Five-time champions Brazil and Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal join France in the World Cup knockout rounds with a game to spare on a dramatic day of action in Qatar. General Syed Asim Munir assumed the charge of Chief of Army Staff. The outgoing Army Chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, handed over the baton of command to his successor at an impressive ceremony at the General Headquarters, Rawalpindi. The ceremony was attended by a large number of people, including the senior military officials. Our correspondent Musharraf Zahur has more.
General Asim Munir takes over as the new Chief of Army Staff at a ceremony held at the General Headquarters Rawalpindi. With General Qamar Javed Bajwa passing the baton, General Asim Munir becomes the 17th Army Chief. General Asim Munir was selected by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif to succeed General Bajwa last week. Prior to ceremony, the outgoing and incoming chiefs laid a wreath at the Yadgare-e-Shohada. And offered Fatiha. Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee, General Sahir Shamshad Mirza, senior serving and retired officers, diplomats as well as government functionaries were in attendance. Addressing the ceremony, General Bajwa expressed hope that General Asim Munir's promotion would be a cause for the progress of the country and the army and termed him an expert and capable son. General Asim Munir is a first on many accounts. He is the first army chief who has served both military intelligence and ISI and first officer who graduated from Officers Training School, Mangla to lead the army.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has telephoned the Army Chief General Syed Asim Munir and felicitated him on assuming office. During his telephonic conversation, the Prime Minister said it is a great honor to lead the brave Pakistan Army. Shehbaz Sharif said he is confident that under the leadership of General Asim Munir, the Army's professionalism and defence capabilities will further increase.
Of course, the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif had earlier congratulated and telephoned the Army Chief General Syed Asim Munir and felicitated him on assuming the office. During his telephonic conversation, the Prime Minister said it is a great honor to lead brave Pakistan Army. Now, Shehbaz Sharif also said he's confident that under the leadership of General Asim Munir, Army's professionalism and defense capabilities will further increase. A very, very significant moment for Pakistan today when, of course, the new Army Chief Syed Asim Munir has taken charge and assumed the charge of the Chief of Army Staff as well. The outgoing Army Chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, handed over the baton of command to his successor at the impressive ceremony which was held in the morning at the General Headquarters, Rawalpindi, and it was attended by a large number of people, including the senior military officials, the people from civilian officials and the bureaucracy as well. Now, we have been joined by Lieutenant General retired Abdul Qayyum to talk more regarding this. Of course, a very significant event in the history of Pakistan. This is the 17th COAS of Pakistan now, Syed Asim Munir Sahab. What is your take? Pakistan, of course, has a lot of security situations right now that are going on as well. What is your take? What is his vision going to be to take Pakistan further and to protect the nation against all odds?
Thank you very much. I think, Alhamdulillah, this transition has been very smooth and change of guard ceremony in the GHQ has taken place. This transition is very good in the sense that there have been no extensions, for example, number one. Number two, seniority, merit, and suitability coincided in the senior-most person, and there was no dispute. Then the PDM, all parties, they left it to the Prime Minister to decide, and the Prime Minister took a right decision, and even the opposition, the Tehreek-e-Insaf and its leadership had no objection to this promotion, which ordinarily should not have been there. So that is good. And now you're talking about the VN. I think the new commander understands, because our officers who reach these high posts, they come through the mill and they really understand, especially officers like General Asim Munir, who have been the Director General Military Intelligence, and then he has an experience of being DG ISI, and he has been on other key posts as commanded a corps. They understand exactly as to how they have to move forward. And I think the first and the foremost thing that I would recommend is that there have been very blatant attacks on the army and its leadership, and the enemies of Pakistan have tried their best to erode the image of this great institution, which is second to none in the world. So they will have to have a counter narrative, and on the social media, they need to fight back. And even today and nowadays, people are talking about the ex-chief and all that. That is a premeditated campaign against the army. So that is one. Number two, then, is the combat worthiness of its force. We have a very strong army, by the grace of Allah, internationally known for its potency and for its professionalism. The new leadership will have to try their best to raise that level further up, because the changing environments of the world, the modern battlefield has new challenges. And then thirdly, most important is this cyber warfare and the hybrid war attacks on Pakistan's national security, which not only includes the army, but also the economy, the internal stability, the food requirements for the country, all these in totality, they count for the national security, and for that I think the army can play a pivotal role. So I am quite hopeful that Alhamdulillah, Pakistan is a strong country, and it has a very strong army, and its leadership is really competent, and they will lead the army in a proper manner.
Right, of course, General Qayyum, we know that Pakistan Army's professionalism is something we cannot raise a hand on and raise a finger on, because that is something very given as well. And that's with the reason that the Army's professionalism shows and speaks for itself, and there's no reason to bring a counter narrative as well for that, because the professionalism is enough. Thank you so much for joining us, of course, in a time when this professionalism, the seniority was also respected, with General Asim coming as the new COA, as this speaks volumes as well regarding how significant the change of command is and how significant the institutionalism of this and professionalism of this institution is, especially with the fact that the ceasefire was given away as well. The TTP called off the ceasefire, and then there is this recent threat from the Indian neighbor as well. And of course, Pakistan Army will uphold the security of Pakistan in itself, which is the prime issue that Pakistan Army has always taken care of. And of course, now we also earlier talked to the senior analyst, Lieutenant General retired Talat Masood, and also spoke to Brigadier retired Nader Mir, who is a defense analyst. Let's see what they had to say.
Our expectations, as always, are very high, because the professional competence of the military and its leadership has always been very inspirational and of a very high quality. And of course, at the moment, the challenges are very much there. And in fact, as you can see, the challenges as far as terrorism is concerned is somewhat increased during the last 1 year. And I think both the internal as well as the external challenges will be the chief sort of aim of the present chief, to sort of counter them and to be fully prepared to sort of, take them on. So one is, of course, as I said earlier, terrorism, especially, the terrorist activities which are increasing in the tribal belt and also sometimes in major cities. At the same time, I think the Indian factor is always there, and our troops are always on the guard and have to be of a very high standard in order to counter, any aggression. Then, at the same time, Pakistan's military is one of the largest in the world, and obviously, its morale, its training, its everything. Ultimately, it boils down to the chief as to his other major, I think, occupation at the moment would be to sort of visit the new the formations, and also he has already sort of brought about changes in certain commands. He has a lot of experience, and he has been in such positions where he was fully aware of the challenges that Pakistan is facing. The Pakistan military has to sort of those missions which Pakistan army has to undertake. So I think he is no stranger to all this. The only thing is, of course, whenever you take over a new command, and especially as big as Pakistan Army, you have to also visit the formations and also place certain in important positions people whom you are more familiar with, you know their professional competence, and you have their confidence. So I think certain changes would be there, and probably have already taken place, some important changes. So I would think that Pakistan is very fortunate that it has a very competent, very professional chief and also the chairman joint staff. So I think we don't have to really be worried about it. But at the same time, I would say that the security challenges of Pakistan are very, very, at the moment are somewhat very challenging. I think it would be upheld because it is in the interest of the country. It is in the interest of the military that, the army keeps away from.
General Asim Munir has assumed the charge as 17th Chief of Staff of the Pakistan Army. More in this report. We have talked with Said Ahmed, UK defence analyst, to talk more about this.
General Syed Asim Munir will take over charge of the Pakistan Army at General Headquarters in change of command ceremony for a term of 3 years. The new Army Chief will take over from the outgoing Military Chief Mr. Qamar Javed Bajwa after a term of 6 years. General Syed Asim Munir is from 17th Course of Officers Training School, Mangla. He started his military career in 1986 and is holder of Sword of Honor from PMA. He served as Force Commander Northern Area and has also served as DG MI and 23rd DG of ISI. Promotions are made by President of Pakistan under 243A and B of the Constitution, Article 48 and Section 8A and 8D of the Army Act of Pakistan 1952. General Asim Munir was the senior most of the candidates for the post. So it's time to congratulate the nation for a merit-based decision. We hope that the new general will do his best to help resolve all outstanding issues including Jammu and Kashmir. May Allah Almighty make him a good omen for the country and help him in his endeavors to further strengthen the Pakistan Army.
The former President Asif Ali Zardari held a meeting with the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in Islamabad. During the meeting, both the leaders discussed overall political situation in the country. The meeting reviewed the rehabilitation of flood victims across the country. The two leaders agreed to speed up the process of rehabilitation of the flood victims as well.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said the government is providing all possible facilitation to investors to promote foreign investment in the country. He was talking to a delegation of international investment banking and capital markets firm Jefferies in Islamabad. Welcoming the delegation, the Prime Minister invited the firm to open its office in Pakistan. He said the government is taking every possible measure to strengthen the economy and further said the country is no more facing any threat of default due to tough decisions taken by the coalition government. He said attempts are being made to create uncertainty in the country by spreading false information about the economic situation of the country. The Prime Minister said regardless of the political cost, the coalition government saved the country from suffering the consequences of the incompetence of the last 4 years. He further said the government is taking measures on priority basis to bring down inflation and provide relief to the common man. Besides, the government is also striving hard to reduce foreign trade deficit. The delegation commended the country's journey towards economic stability by effectively confronting the economic challenges under the leadership of the Prime Minister. Finance Minister Ishaq Dar was also present on the occasion.
Minister of State for the Foreign Affairs Hina Rabbani Kar and the Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi of Afghanistan, along with their respective delegations, met at Kabul and discussed matters of bilateral importance. The meeting focused on political consultations between the two governments. The Foreign Office said a range of bilateral issues of common interest, including the cooperation in education, health, trade and investment, regional connectivity, people-to-people contacts and socio-economic projects were discussed. Earlier, on her arrival in the Afghan capital, Hina Rabbani Kar was received at the airport by the Deputy Minister for Economy, Abdul Latif Nazari, and the Pakistan Embassy's head of mission in Kabul, Ubaidur Rahman Nizamani.
Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Hina Rabbani Kar also held a meeting with Afghanistan's interim Deputy Prime Minister Abdul Salam Hanafi in Kabul. Matters of bilateral interest, including cooperation in diverse fields, were discussed.
The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Hina Rabbani Kar, has expressed Pakistan's keen interest in strengthening the linkages between women entrepreneurs of Pakistan and Afghanistan. She said this at a luncheon meeting with the Women's Chamber of Commerce in Kabul. Now, underlining an important role of women in society, the Minister of State announced that Pakistan would give special preference to import of products produced by the businesses run by women.
The government of Pakistan has received $500 million from Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. In a tweet, the Finance Ministry said the funds are deposited with the State Bank of Pakistan and these funds would augment the country's reserves.
Now, the federal government has approved the base tariff for electric tube wells at 13 kilowatt per hour rupees from 16.60 rupees, providing relief to the farmers of 3.60 kilowatt per hour rupees, effective from the 1st of November 2022, to compensate the damage caused by the floods and heavy rains. Now, the Economic Coordination Committee of the Cabinet allowed to launch a new scheme titled Credit Guarantee Trust Scheme for low-income housing through second supplemental trust deed with an amount of US $85 million to be obtained from the World Bank to provide the risk cover of financing the institutions against their financing in housing sector. Now, the forum approved minimum indicative prices for various types of tobacco for different areas of 2023 tobacco crop. Now, the ECC, after discussion, approved the proposal to reduce the RD on disodium carbonate from current rate of 20% to 10% and imposed RD at rate of 5% on the filament yarns. Now, the forum also approved supplementary grant of $2 billion for the flood-related media campaigns. The forum approved 15 billion rupees in favor of Election Commission of Pakistan for the current financial year 2022 to 23.
Federal Minister for Finance and Revenue, Senator Mohammad Ishaq Dar, held a virtual meeting with President Bank of China, Liu Jin, at the Finance Division. Ishaq Dar said that it had always been great pleasure to work with the Bank of China, and Pakistan has enjoyed sound financial dealings with the bank in the past. The finance minister also highlighted the recent visit of Prime Minister of Pakistan to China and talked about reciprocation of warm sentiments from the Chinese leadership. The finance minister, while talking about the long-standing and durable relationships between the government of China and the government of Pakistan, shared gratitude to the President Bank of China for continuous support to Pakistan in testing times. It was highlighted that the Bank of China has played a crucial role in extending budgetary support to Pakistan, which has played a significant role in easing pressure on the external account and meeting budgetary needs.
The third Pakistan-Africa Trade Development Conference has started in Johannesburg, city of South Africa. Now, Minister for Commerce Syed Naveed Qamar inaugurated the conference. Around 130 companies are exhibiting their products in the three-day exhibition. A delegation comprising around 225 exhibitors and business delegates from Pakistan, representing 20 major sectors, are participating in this event.
से निकाला है क्योंकि मुश्किल वक्त में पाकिस्तान पीपल्स पार्टी ही अवाम के और मुल्क के और रियासत के काम आती है। हम जंजीर हैं इस मुल्क के जमहूर की। अब देखिए ऊपर एक और निज़ाम चल रहा है, इस वक्त टेस्टिंग चल रही है जी। तो मेरी अर्ज़ ये है कि इन मुश्किल हालात में जब इक़्तिसादी और सियासी चैलेंज जमहूरियत को है, आइए शायद ये आपका शो है, सामने आइए, दोनों आप वकार को आपका, तो ये जब सियासी और जमहूरियत को चैलेंज जब किया जाता है तो पाकिस्तान पीपल्स पार्टी ही सफ़े अव्वल में होती है, हरावल दस्ता होती है। और इस वक्त चेयरमैन बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी आलमी सतह पर भी और पाकिस्तान के स्टेज पर भी हम सबको इस वक्त यकजहती के साथ वापस एक फैमिली की तरह यूनाइट करने आए हैं, तकसीम की सियासत से दूर ले जाने आए हैं। और जो नफ़रतों का कारवान मुल्क में चला हुआ है, जो मुल्क को इस वक्त ऐसी नहज पर ले आया था कि हर किस्म की तबाही आपके सामने खड़ी थी, वो तबाही देखिए, मुल्क में तबाही करनी चार घंटे या 4 सेकंड का काम है। मुल्क को फिर से बनाना, जहाँ से उसकी तामीर नौ करना, जहाँ से शहीद जुल्फ़िकार अली भुट्टो और मोहतरमा शहीद और फिर ज़रदारी साहब की हुकूमतों ने छोड़ा, वो बड़ा मुश्किल काम है। लेकिन आपके सामने ये हो रहा है और इस वक्त भी मैं कहूँगी बड़ी इम्तिहान की घड़ी है। बड़ी इम्तिहान की घड़ी क्यों है कि इक़्तिसादी एक महाज है जिस पर लोगों के साथ ना सिर्फ ज़्यादतियाँ की गई हैं मगर परेशानी का आलम है। हम जानते हैं लोगों के साथ कमर तोड़, इस वक्त अभी भी कमर तोड़ एक महंगाई का निज़ाम है जो फिर मैं कहूँगी इसलिए है कि आपको तबाही फेरने में 4 घंटे चाहिए होते हैं और उसको फिर बहाल और मुल्क को बहाल करने में, तामीर नौ करने में, इक़्तिसादी बहाली लाने में और ख़ारजा पॉलिसी में कोई एक स्टेबिलिटी लाने में, इस्तेहकाम लाने में 4 महीने 4 साल लगते हैं। हम इस वक्त खड़े हैं मुश्किल हालात में। सारी दुनिया को चेयरमैन बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी अपना एक फरीज़ा, कौमी फरीज़ा अदा कर रहे हैं। वो पाकिस्तान को आइसोलेशन से निकाल रहे हैं और पाकिस्तान पीपल्स पार्टी यूनिटी गवर्नमेंट के साथ इस वक्त मुश्किल हालात में खड़ी है सामने। और यही आज हमारा, मैं समझती हूँ, बहुत अहम पैगाम होना चाहिए कि जब भी आपने नोटिस भी किया होगा, जब भी कोई मुश्किल हालत होती है पाकिस्तान के लिए तो आपको कौन नज़र आता है सफ़े अव्वल में? पाकिस्तान पीपल्स पार्टी नज़र आती है।
That was the Minister of Climate Change, Ms. Shari Rahman, who was talking to the media in Karachi. Live from Karachi, she said the PPP always struggled for strengthening of the economy. And she also said that we know the issues of the masses and we acknowledge them and we want to help the masses as well. She also said that the PPP stands with the unity government with the PDM. And of course, we will come and bring the Pakistan out of this political turmoil as well. Now, the Supreme Court has completed the hearing of a reference filed in the Rekodik case by the President. A five-member larger bench, headed by the Chief Justice of Pakistan, Umar Ata Bandial, heard the case and will give its verdict on the presidential reference next week. Now, before reserving the verdict, the Chief Justice during the hearing said that the President has sought the opinion from legal channels. He also said that the court will be careful while giving an opinion on the matter of basic rights in the presidential reference. He said that Pakistan is facing a fine of $1 billion, adding that the federal government followed the constitution and the law concerning the Rekodik Agreement. Moreover, the Chief Justice said that he is happy Rekodik Agreement ensured international standard protection.
A court in Islamabad has approved the 4-day physical remand of PDI leader Senator Azam Khan Swati for his controversial tweets. During the hearing, senior civil judge Mohammad Shabir Bhatti announced the verdict, handed him over to the FIA till 3rd of December. The court also approved the senator's lawyer Babar Awan's petition to not present Swati in court, citing security concerns. He said Azam Swati should not be produced before the court under further order. He said that Swati should be presented before the court through a video link in the next hearing. The prosecutor asked the court to write it in the order that Swati was not produced in the court at the request of his lawyer. The FIA had requested a 6-day physical remand of the senator for further investigation into his Twitter account and mobile phone as well.
PMLN's Ataullah Tarar and Pakistan People's Party Hassan Murtaza has said that the majority of Punjab Assembly members are against the dissolving of the Provincial Assembly and that the PTM will take all the constitutional measures to stop Imran Khan's plans to dissolve the Assembly. Now, speaking at PMLN's Secretariat in Lahore, Tarar said no one has any right to dissolve the Assembly. Tarar also said PDI Chairperson Imran Khan's plans are immoral, wrong, and majority of Punjab Assembly members, including many of his own party, are against dissolving of the Assembly. Moreover, Tarar also said that PDM members are in contact with each other and will use all necessary constitutional measures to stop any constitutional crisis in the country.
International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people is being observed today across the world. The aim of observing the day is to show solidarity with the Palestinian people in getting their inalienable right to freedom and to establish their independent state on their national soil with Jerusalem as its capital. More details in the following report.
The International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people is observed by the United Nations on or around 29th of November each year, in accordance with General Assembly mandates contained in the resolutions. The date of 29 November was chosen because of its meaning and significance to the Palestinian people. On that day in 1947, the General Assembly adopted Resolution 181, which came to be known as the Partition Resolution. That resolution provided for the establishment in Palestine of a Jewish state and an Arab state, with Jerusalem as a corpus separatum under a special international regime. Of the two states to be created under this resolution, only one, Israel, has so far come into being. The Palestinian people, who now number more than 8 million, live primarily in the Palestinian territory occupied by Israel since 1967, including East Jerusalem, in Israel and neighboring Arab states, and in refugee camps in the region. The International Day of Solidarity traditionally provides an opportunity for the international community to focus its attention on the fact that the question of Palestine remains unresolved and that the Palestinian people have yet to attain their inalienable rights are defined by the UN General Assembly. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has reaffirmed the world's body commitment to a solution to the Israeli occupation, noting that this year the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people is being observed at a time of diminished hope for peace. He said the long-standing drivers of conflict, including the ongoing occupations, settlement expansion, home demolitions, and evictions, heighten anger, despair, and hopelessness.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has reaffirmed Pakistan's unwavering support to the oppressed Palestinian people. In his message on International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, the Prime Minister said this day highlights the extreme sufferings of the Palestinians that have endured under the illegal Israel operation and occupation. Now, Shehbaz Sharif said that Israeli persecution and oppressive actions that find no parallel in contemporary history are emboldened by impunity. He also said that unresolved Palestinian issue is not just a moral question, but an issue that has implications for the global peace. The Prime Minister said Pakistan supports the two-state solution as per the UN resolutions.
President Dr. Arif Alvi has reiterated that Pakistan will continue supporting the people of Palestine for their legitimate right to self-determination. In his message on the occasion of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, he said Pakistan fully supports the Palestinian position based upon internationally recognized terms of reference with East Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine. Dr. Arif Alvi said recent episode of incessant Israeli violence was seen in August this year when its bombing in Gaza martyred approximately 50 Palestinians, including 17 children, and injuries to more than 300.
Embassy of Palestine in Pakistan has urged the world community to stand up to its responsibilities to develop an international plan to end the occupation of the land of the State of Palestine. The embassy said in the press release that security, peace, and stability in the region can only be achieved through the resolution of the Palestine issue based on the resolutions of the international legitimacy and the Arab Peace Initiative. It also said Israel implements an apartheid regime and practices racial discrimination against the Palestinian people in full view of the international community and gets away with it under the double standards that apply when it comes to Israel, as the United States provides unlimited support to Israel and protects it from the accountability. The embassy stated that our people do not demand more than what is guaranteed by the international legitimacy to the rest of the people of the earth, but they also will not accept any less.
The United Nations envoy to the Middle East warned that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was reaching a boiling point given a surge in violence in the West Bank. Addressing the UN Security Council, Tor Wennesland said high levels of violence in the occupied West Bank and Israel in recent months, including attacks against Israeli and Palestinian civilians, increased use of arms, and settler-related violence have caused grave human suffering. He said the targeting of civilians can never be justified and the violence must stop. The United Nations envoy told a United Nations Security Council briefing calling for a return to a political process for a two-state resolution of the conflict. He said the current trends bring neither stability nor security for anyone.
Now, 3 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli troops in the West Bank, the latest deaths in a sharp uptick in the violence in the occupied territory. The Palestinian Health Ministry said 2 brothers were killed in Israeli fire in Kafarin near Ramallah, while a 3rd man died of bullet wounds to the head fired by the Israeli troops in Beit Umar, near the flashpoint city of Hebron. Now, the Palestinian Authority's Civil Affairs Minister Hussein al-Sheikh described the killings of the 2 brothers as an execution in cold blood. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli army made.
Governor Sindh Kamran Khan Tesori has called on President Dr. Arif Alvi in Islamabad. Cooperation of federal government in various sectors, federal funding for development of the Sindh province and mega development projects of Karachi were discussed during the meeting. Kamran Khan informed the President about his efforts to create cohesion, harmony and unity between various sections of the population in province Sindh. The Governor Sindh said that federal funding for various projects would definitely improve the existing infrastructure of the province.
President Dr. Arif Alvi has approved the regularization of 3 additional judges of Islamabad High Court. The additional judges include Justice Sardar Ejaz Ishaq Khan, Justice Arbab Muhammad Tahir, and Justice Saman Rafat Imtiaz. Now, the President gave the approval under the Article 175(8)(13) of the Constitution.
Federal Minister for Planning and Development Special Initiatives announced to confer the Satara Imtiaz, the country's 3rd highest civilian honor, to the late journalist Ziauddin for his contribution in the field of journalism while paying tribute to him on his 1st death anniversary. The award will be received by his family on 14th of August 2023. The announcement was made by the minister while paying tribute to the late journalist during a condolence reference organised by the Ministry of Planning Commission. The event was attended by civil society activists, journalists and people from different walks of life. Ziauddin passed away after a prolonged illness on 29th of November 2021 at the age of 83 in Islamabad. During his illustrious career spanning over 60 years, Ziauddin had worked extensively for almost all major newspapers of the country, including The Muslim, The News, Dawn and Express Tribune as well.
FES, or Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, is a non-profit German organization which promotes the programs and activities aimed at establishing and strengthening the civil society, reinforcing the democratic government institutions, and wanting to build bridges between the civil society and the powers of the state. The FES Pakistan has launched numerous initiatives in Pakistan. Mark Saxer, the head of Asia-Pacific Regional Program at the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, visited Pakistan Television News Center in Islamabad. He was taken on the visit of key operational departments of PTV by the Director Current Affairs and in-charge PTV World on Abbas Sahi. The Mark Saxer met Mirza Rashid Beg, Director News PTV, and met with the staff of News Department of PTV News and PTV World and interacted with them. He also visited the PTV World newsroom and interacted with the staff there as well. Director Current Affairs PTV News on Sahi gave a detailed briefing on the functions and workings of the various departments of PTV. Moreover, Friedrich Ebert Stiftung Pakistan staff also accompanied Mark Saxer.
The Israeli filmmaker heading the Indian Film Festival jury has termed the Kashmir Files vulgar and propaganda. The controversial Bollywood movie promoted by BJP leaders was a commercial success but faced allegations of fanning communal sentiments. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the International Film Festival of India, Nadav Lapid said he was shocked that the film was included in the competition category. After Lapid's comments generated a huge backlash on social media, the International Film Festival of India jury board said his comments were completely his personal opinion. Meanwhile, the Israeli government rushed to intervene and distanced itself from Lapid's comments. Naor Gilon, Israel's ambassador to New Delhi, criticized Mr. Lapid in an open letter to the filmmaker. Said during the exodus of Hindus from Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir in the 1990s, the film tells the fictional story of a university student who discovers his Kashmiri Hindu parents were killed. The film has faced heavy criticism in the past for the alleged one-sided portrayal of the events in the occupied valley.
Now, in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, detained chairperson of the All-Parties Hurriyat Conference, Masarat Alam Butt, has called on the international community to stop India from genocide of Kashmiris and brutalities of the innocent people. In a message from New Delhi's Tihar jail, Butt said over 1 million occupation troops present in the occupied Kashmir have made the lives of the local people a hell. He, however, maintained that India can never suppress the right-based struggle of Kashmiris with cruelty and brutality and military might.
A varied duration anti-polio campaign is underway in selected districts of Punjab, Sindh, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. More than 13.5 million children under 5 years of age will be administered the polio drops during the immunization campaign. Moreover, 27 couples tied the knot at an annual mass wedding ceremony in Major Akram Shahid Park, Jhelum on Sunday. The mass wedding ceremony was organized by a local non-government organization. Besides office bearers of the foundation, administration officials, workers from political and welfare associations, relatives of the couples and members of civil society participated in the ceremony. Every bride was gifted with the Holy Quran, furniture, household items and cosmetics.
Now, the Chinese mainland reported 3,561 locally transmitted confirmed COVID-19 cases and 63 imported ones. The National Health Commission said among the local cases, 1,168 were reported in South China's Guangdong province, 957 in Beijing, and 209 in southwest China's Chongqing municipality. Now, the number of severe cases increased by 2 from the previous day.
China plans to speed up COVID-19 vaccinations and will release information to the public in due course. China, which has pursued a strict zero-COVID policy that results in frequent snap lockdowns, has recently seen a surge in cases with more than 23,000 new infections reported on Thursday. The country has begun to loosen some curbs related to mass testing and quarantine for overseas arrivals, boosting optimism that China is moving towards a reopening and economic activity could pick up again in the country.
The Omicron variant BF7 is the primary strain that leads to the latest COVID-19 breakouts in China, which is more infectious and transmissible and more difficult to detect as well. The Chinese health official Xu Wenbo said in a recent interview explained that BF7 is a subvariant of the third descendant of the Omicron sublineage BA5, the dominant COVID-19 variant in China in July and August as well. Moreover, he said it's less pathogenic and it is also more transmissible. He also pointed out that BF7 is more difficult to detect, bringing pressing difficulties in terms of epidemic prevention and control.
Well, with that, the end of the bulletin. For more details and live streaming, you can always log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. You can find PTV World's page on Facebook and you can follow our Twitter handle at WorldPTV. From my side, Rafa Iqbal, my co-anchors Tayyiba Nisar and Ali Ahmed and the entire news team at PTV World, it's goodbye for now.